This is my 2005 Triumph Speedmaster I purchased in early 2006. To break it in, I took it on a 1,400-mile ride to Nova Scotia and back, leaving from Eastern Long Island. It was a great ride. Few complaints, but there were some, and I came back and I wanted to take care of those. Obviously, the EPA compliant items had to be taken care of. The carburetor was rejetted, a air pump block-off kit installed, a K&N air filter was installed, as well as Bub straight-through exhaust. This increased power by a whole bunch and made gas mileage go up and the engine cool down. At its first tune-up, I installed Profire ignition coils. They're higher output than the stock units. NGK iridium spark plugs, as well as NGK wires. Shortly later, I also installed Procom programmable ignition module. All these items are available from newbonneville.com. Good company. The Procom made such a power increase that my only complaint was it made so much power that now my clutch slipped. What I ended up doing after some research was I installed Barnett clutch springs. These are the green springs. They're heavy duty. There is a little extra clutch lever pull, but it's not that much, and the clutch slipping had stopped. With the extra power, I felt free to install a 19-tooth countershaft sprocket. This lowered the RPMs at highway speed, and like I said before, I do like to take 1,000 mile plus rides. So on my way to Georgia from Eastern Long Island, I didn't slip the clutch once. The RPMs were way down. The bike ran smooth and cool, and I had good gas mileage. In fact, I had over 50 miles per gallon, going about 80 miles an hour. Unfortunately, the police didn't see me do that. By the way, the gold chain is a DID unit, and the countershaft sprocket is from a later Speedmaster. I didn't like the ribbed version, so I just matter of taste, I installed that. The instrument lights, the so-called idiot lights, were so dim that once you're out in the bright sunlight, daytime riding, you couldn't even see if the, say, the red warning light for oil pressure or your directionals were on. NewBonneville.com actually sells a little kit that comes with most of the lights in LED that are much, much brighter and make it easy to see. The only one it doesn't come with is the high beam, which you really don't need because you're going to be using that at night. So obviously you're going to be able to see it. Small thing that made a big difference was just replacing the stock headlight, which was kind of a yellow tint to it, to a Pia Extreme White. Made a big difference, really lights up the night. The brake pads are EBCs, and I changed over all the brake fluid to .5 silicone 12 years ago, and I've had no hydraulic faults. The cruise control unit has been fantastic. It hasn't given me any trouble. It's very simple. I really do wish I could remember what brand it was so I could give it a pat on the back. I think it's a Kiryakin, like the foot pegs. The foot pegs are the switchblade type, and they come in handy on a long trip. The front forks, I installed progressive spring kit into those, stock size, heavy duty, and installed the Triumph America front fender because of its larger size and protection from the rain. The rear shocks are also progressive suspension. The steering head bearings were replaced with all balls tapered bearing set. These give a lot more friction area, or rather surface area to the steering head. Also the windshield, which is on the small side but works fantastically, is a wind vest unit. That little flip on the end there really puts the rain and wind right over the top of my helmet. There was a huge improvement in comfort on long rides from putting an auxiliary set of foot pegs in. I got a stainless steel rod, stainless nuts and washers from Fastenal. They were very helpful and even said if we don't have it, we'll make it. The pegs, the rubber pegs themselves were the stock ones that I took off the front of the bike when I installed the switchblade from a Karayakin. I replaced the stock seat mostly from complaints of my wife when she was on the back. It was kind of like a thong sticking up her behind. The seats on there are from the Triumph America, and there's a much better pillion for the back for the passenger. The saddlebags are the large units from Triumph, and the luggage rack in the rear is a beautiful stainless steel TIG welded unit that I got out of Christchurch, New Zealand. It was somewhat expensive after customs and shipping, but it was well worth it. The rear tire and front tire, both Avon units. The rear is a Cobra and the front is a Road Rider. Both have held up very well. I never really liked the stock color of the gas tank. It was a bit too red. It looked like a big tomato. What I ended up doing was I removed the tank, prepped it down the way you're supposed to, and shot it with nightshades. Really came out well. Then I shot it with Duplicolor engine clear coat. That's the gloss clear coat. It seems that the standard clear coat doesn't hold up with gas, and being on a gas tank, it's kind of important. The emblems on the tanks, or actually the T-Bird type, I took those and they were a bit too big, so I cut off the bottom section, polished it, and painted it black and gold. Came out beautifully, in my opinion. The taillight lens in the back also looked very plastic and red, so I shot that with nice shades and I darkened it off. Makes it look more like antique glass than the plastic. And that's about it. The bike's about ready to ride, and we got over 34,000 miles on it, and it runs great. As always, bikes look better with no saddlebags or windshields. So, show how quickly a wind vest can be changed over. To delete the windshield, just take Allen head here, Allen head screw here. And don't let it fall down. Woo-ah. Windshield up. Saddlebags, just pull the seat. Lift the bags. Of course, I could have cheated and loosened some things first. Fire the bike up.